up, friends? It's Moses here. I hope and pray that you guys are doing well. Okay, looks like we have a problem. Starting out with a bad chassis. That's not a good way to start out that day. Let's see what it says. Tire number 17 is worn out. Since it's a tire, that is something that I can take to the shop to work on. So as long as everything else is good, I should be good. So our shop is in this lot. This is lot B. I hope they didn't change the way they want me to come into the shop, because these cones were the other side. Now they are this side. I haven't been here in a while, so maybe they want me to go the other side, I think. Let me ask them before I do that. So I'm done with the tire change. Since I'm in lot B, I'm gonna use this exit right here. I'm taking this in door 24. And that's 24. I'm gonna need to slide the tandems back. Oh, perfect. The good thing with this customer is they don't need to check the empties. And perfect. Time to head to my next pickup. This place is kind of narrow. So you have to be careful and watch both your mirrors. I've got my paperwork. I'm just gonna drop this empty in any spot, and then I'm picking up 2365. It's right there. I just want to talk about something that Ethan was asking about. He wanted me to talk about transportation managers. You may call them transportation managers, fleet managers, dispatchers. Different people call them different things, and different companies have different titles for them. But generally speaking, fleet managers or dispatchers, those managers that are directly responsible for our well-being at the company. I'm just briefly just saying that's what they do. Like they are, if we were in another career, we would call them our direct supervisors. So they are responsible to making sure that we have loads on us, like we are dispatched on our loads. If we have anything that we need, maybe like time off, or something goes wrong with our loads, or we have a conflict that we need to be resolved, something to do with work, they are the people that we turn to first before anybody else to kind of solve the problem or the challenge that we may have. Here in Hazlet, we mostly run the rail, like intermodal. Now I have seen dedicated trucks, but I'm not sure if we have any like managers that just run dedicated accounts in the office. I'm not sure if those drivers that are doing dedicated accounts have their manager at the Hazlet office, or they have their managers anywhere, somewhere else. But here in Hazlet, it's mostly the rail, so intermodal. And of course, intermodal is divided into regional and local. So we have managers that manage the regional drivers and managers that manage the local drivers. Now, every manager, every fleet manager has what we call a board. And a board just has a number of drivers. Let's say, I'm not sure exactly how many, but let me just say that maybe about around 12 drivers per board. And that is a board that maybe runs a certain shift. As an example, I am on the weekend board, and so I drive from Friday to Monday. So we have a manager. I'm not sure how many managers we have, because I know my manager comes in, I think, at 6 o'clock to 6 o'clock. So he comes in before I come in, and he leaves when I'm still here. So maybe we have two managers, one running the night and one running the morning. I'm not sure, but I know I only have one manager. Now, just because my manager is not here when I'm here, doesn't mean I don't have anyone helping me. The other managers in the office do help, they help each other out. So even when my manager is not here, I still get the help I need from other managers. But I do have a manager that is directly responsible for me to make sure, like, whatever I need. For example, if maybe I was chosen for a random drug test, it would be my manager to know that and to let me know. If something is wrong with my pay, I would turn to my manager and make sure they fix it. So they are our direct, quote-unquote, supervisors or managers. So that's what they do. What's my experience with them? Honestly speaking, I have had very good experience with all the managers that I've had. Not only those that I've had, but even other managers in the office. One thing about JB Hunt, they have a program where they are training managers, and so they keep on changing our managers. Like every couple of months, you'll get a different manager, because maybe they moved your manager to a different board, or your manager went from local to regional, or they became like load planners. By the way, talking about managers, even though we call them dispatchers, they are not really the ones responsible for finding you loads. We have managers that we call load planners. So what the load planners do is they look at the entire fleet, like the drivers that are working at a given shift. They look at how many loads we have that need to be delivered, or loads that need to be picked up. And so the load planners are responsible to making sure that though there is a truck or there is a driver that is going to deliver or pick up a load. So it's the load planners that look at all the drivers that are working at a given shift and make sure that those drivers are given loads based on their availability, like how much time they have. And as they and so it's like in the system, they hook the load to a driver, but then it is the responsibility of your manager to dispatch you on that load. Or if anything goes wrong, maybe like you are delayed at a customer's place, or maybe you get a breakdown or something goes wrong with your load, it's your manager that is supposed to let the load planner know that, hey, my driver has a problem with this load, they will need a different load. Or my driver needs, they still have like maybe 2 hours and they need another load because they are coming back to the rail. Or my driver is asking for an extra load because he still has an hour left on his clock. It is your manager that will will be responsible to let the load planner know. So we as drivers don't go to the load planners. It's our managers that communicate with the load planners. We communicate with our managers. I think the other question that Ethan wanted to know is, what makes a good manager? A good manager really, in my opinion, is a manager who studies their drivers and they know how to deal with their drivers as individuals. Because remember, as people, we have different personalities and we have different needs. So when a manager has a board of like a group of drivers, say they are overseeing, let's say, 15 drivers as an example. I'm not sure how big the boards are, but if they're dealing with 15 drivers, it is their responsibility to know the individual drivers and to kind of study them and know what kind of driver they are, because there are drivers who don't want to work hard, they just want to come, put in the minimum. Then there are those that are hustlers, they want to hustle and get the most out of it. Then there are those drivers that are kind of picky. There are drivers that are easygoing. There are drivers that are kind of maybe like they're maybe high-tempered, and then there are those that are mellow. I mean, people are different. So I think a good manager will kind of know his drivers, and they will kind of know how to deal with their particular drivers, because that kind of helps them out in the long run. Because if you know, excuse me, if you know what kind of drivers you have under you, then you know how to manage them, and so it's kind of going to work out in the end for both you and the driver. A good manager, I think, will always be watching out for the driver's needs to kind of understand how to help drivers out. For example, I've seen managers that really understand, like maybe, for example, I think I made one time a video where I told you one of the managers, he's not like my direct manager, he's one of the managers that oversees, excuse me, I think the night team. One time, for example, I'm giving you this as an example. One time, I sent in a message to ask, where can I find an empty? And so he gives me back a message, an empty as a job assignment. In other words, so I can be paid for searching that empty. So he recognizes that, like, I need to be paid for time. So there are managers that will kind of understand how the business works, and they know even before you ask them, they will kind of say, oh, by the way, just put in an exception for this thing, I will pay you for it, because they know that maybe you've put in some time, but there's nothing that, like, directly that they can use to pay you, but they can tell you how to make sure that you get paid for it. So a good manager is always looking out for his drivers to make sure that his or her drivers are happy. And I have seen it here at Hazlet that our managers really, really do a good job. And when I say our managers, I'm not just talking about the manager that is directly responsible for me, but the managers in the office. They are really nice. And for me, it's a testament to the upper management, like to the manager that oversees all the managers, because we have a manager that oversees the managers that run the local drivers, and then we have a manager that oversees the managers that run the regional drivers, and then we have, I think it's called the operations manager or branch manager, I don't know, that oversees the whole team in Hazlet. I think he does a good job to make sure that the environment, the culture here in Hazlet is really a good culture, because, as I said, our managers, they keep on changing them every couple of months. They are changing our drivers, right? But to see that every manager that comes in still, like treats drivers well, to me that means that the culture that the guy on top sets is really nice. And again, I think it also goes back to corporate, the way they train the managers. In the office, there is a sign that I really like. It says, listen, understand, care. I think that is something that they have in there to help them remember. But I must say that how people treat you also depends on how you treat them. So in my opinion, that listen, understand, care is not just for the managers. It should also work for us as drivers. If you want somebody to treat you nice, then make sure you treat them nice too. I mean, what goes around comes around. You'll find people that want to be treated nice, but they never care to think about how they are treating others. So for you to have a good manager, again, it's going to probably also go back to who you are as an individual, because I know there are people that will complain about certain managers that I may not complain about. It also goes back to personality. Sometimes personalities can collide, but generally speaking, I like the managers that we have. All the managers I've had that have been directly my managers, the ones that I answer to directly, have all been good managers. And even the managers in the office, like when I go in the office, even if my manager is not there, any manager I talk to is always ready to help me. I haven't had really challenges with most of the managers. Yes, there may be a few managers that people may have challenges with, but again, as I said, that is to do with personalities. Sometimes personalities can collide. But that's what managers do, and in my opinion, a good manager is one that is always watching out for his or her drivers and making sure that those drivers are happy and they are taken care of. And I think the team here in Hazlitt does really good. I will say that I also did work for JB Hunt out of San Bernardino and out of Southgate, and I still got along with the managers that I had. Back then, that was what, in 2006, 2007, 2008? Back then, they did not rotate our managers as they do, because the managers that I had, I think I only had one manager in San Bernardino, and I only had one manager in Southgate, and they never changed until I left. But here, they keep on changing them. So I don't know if it's a new thing of changing managers, but yeah, I like them. I really like JB Hunt. I think it's one of the good companies to work for. And now that I say that, if any of you wants to come and join JB Hunt, whether you are fresh out of school and you need to go through training, or you have experience but you think JB Hunt may be a fit for you, go to driversuccess.com. There is a short form that you can fill in. It will send me your information, and I will ask Susan to give you a call, or just send me your name and your phone number at moses@driversuccess.com. I will ask Susan to give you a call. Now, I must say that if you are fresh out of school, it also depends on your location and if they are doing that training program in your location. So it depends. I just don't want to promise that everything will work out and then maybe it doesn't work out. But it doesn't hurt to try. So whether you have no experience, whether you have little experience or a lot of experience, if you think JB Hunt may be a fit for you, shoot me an email and we will see.